a problem to solve, and as I always say that, like, yeah, find some problems, go out and find problems.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean with the it's some Nollywood film when the guy was like,
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
I love it.
that's literally my brain, dude. My brain is always problem
You know
solving.
what,
It's
peace?
searching for them problems. Nah, I don't want peace, dog.
Partner, I want peace. I have with me today Richard Taylor,
Hello, hello.
illustrator, designer, carpenter. What other
What
terms
kind
is
of
we
thing?
good?
But as we doing plumbing, I do fiber optics, but everything, right?
Everything. Renaissance man kind of business.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're saying. I mean, so I was trying to remember when our paths would have crossed first.
Well, that would have had to be in Kung Fu.
You used
I
to
don't know
train,
if it's
you used to train in
yeah,
Sifu as well?
yes, but I think you would probably know me when I was a baby or kind of thing. I don't know, because you would have know my brother Warren,
No, no, I never
right?
met
No,
Warren.
you never meet Warren. You
I
meet all
never
right.
met.
So it's Lee then.
Yeah, Lee.
All right, so yeah, I would have be checking, coming and checking, watching class and thing before I even start seeing the action and wanting to be in it.
Right. That was a long time ago.
Yeah,
That was 20 plus years ago.
yeah.
Shit.
Right, so we know each other out sometime now.
Yeah. Um, and then you used to attend the Reader's Draw.
Yeah, in the beginning too, when James and now started up, I think there
Yeah.
was about 8 of us.
Right. 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 So I mean, we moving in the same circles for quite a while.
Yep.
Um, and well, that's what this series, hopefully series, is about to, get to know more of the creatives and try to create that community and,
Mm-hmm.
show that it had all kind of people in it. So, we spread it out and get more people knowing about what you're doing and what everybody else doing, so you'd have more chances for collaboration in whatever form that take. Let me go back a bit. School.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Primary school, secondary school.
I grew up in Santa Cruz, so I went to the RC Santa Cruz RC up there.
Right.
And secondary
I
school
mean,
was Fatima.
we can start a draw there. So any prompt you see and you're like, tell to your frame.
Yeah. All right. All right. All right. All right. Yeah. So
Let's mark
primary
it
school
off.
was I like this one here.
All right, cool.
So secondary school was Fatima. Primary school was the RC school. I could remember drawing a set of stick comics and stuff in primary school in between whatever it was I was doing,
You
all
mean
the science subjects and stuff.
we was right to the back of your copybook and thing?
But I used to do comics and pass it around and stuff. Everything was stick figures in primary school.
Right. And what was the response?
And generally people that like it, because one of the influences I had growing up for being a creative was my older brothers, four older brothers, and they all were
That I
into video
didn't know.
games. Yeah, it's for them. So all of us into video games and stuff. But like Warren, my oldest brother, he was into Japanese anime, and he used to be watching like Akira and stuff when I was like 8 and 7. And then I see like
Right.
these adult anime, and I was like, this real sick. So I was always like trying to some extent, like create some of these similar characters. Like I remember drawing a lot of Mega Man characters and stuff, the simpler ones. And I had real. He used to have Electronic Arts gaming magazines.
Right.
So I used
Right,
to go.
right.
Used to order those and used to get them every month and stuff. So I used to go through those and see like all the character artwork and it's different kinds of stuff people was doing. Like at the time, I wasn't even thinking about art as a career, and I was just like, I just tell people when they ask me now if I like drawing, I was like, boy, sometimes I do like drawing, but it's feel like I have to draw to breathe. Like
Right.
that's just how as exists. It's not
Yeah,
always enjoyable, but it's like a creative
necessity.
release.
Mm.
And so yeah, I never thought about art as a career or anything like that. So even when I was growing up, I just used to be drawing stick comics because I had stuff I wanted to talk about. And secondary school, Fatima, I did not even pick art as a subject.
Really?
Nope. And we had one art teacher that I wasn't really fond of, but I still used to draw. I mean, I was always drawing in between classes and like at the back of the class during exams when I finished early and that kind of stuff. I'll be
So,
drawing, and I remember a specific example. Dread, a teacher asked, like she know I was drawing. Like I was kind of notorious for just being drawing, but I was always doing my work too now.
mm,
So she asked me to see some diagram that we supposed to be drawing. She's like, "Come on, show the class your diagram." And in my book, I had no diagram. I was drawing something else. So I
that's
went
probably
to the
why she
front of the
called it.
class, and yeah, she know. So yeah, I do sciences. I do all sciences, geography, literature, and everybody used to tell me I should do art, right? But I didn't like the art teacher, and the way that they used to talk about art. And Fatima is a kind of a prestige school. They didn't tell you you could really do much with art now.
Right.
They wanted to be a doctor, lawyer, kind of business person kind of scenario. So I didn't get that push. That's that I would say I needed. I
So,
should I get.
so the choice to not choose art, that was from you. That wasn't like your parents saying or somebody older saying
That
don't do art. This was your choice
yeah,
not to
cause
do it.
it, yeah, cause the consensus really is you're going to school to figure out how you're gonna make money later down in life, and
Mm,
no, it didn't really have any options. Like nobody really looked at art as an option as a career partner. Is when I left school. I didn't do A levels. I did CXC, and then decided I wanted to try to start working on stuff. I teach myself graphic design. And I started asking people, just went on, started asking around and stuff. And luckily, I had a partner whose dad had a printry.
mm,
And this is a partner from Fatima.
right.
And he said, well, yeah, his designers definitely wouldn't mind training me and that kind of stuff. And that's kind of how I got my start. Just went and asked people. So I had the programs because I had a computer at home. We used to share one computer. All of us had one computer we used to share back in the day. You know what that
Right.
was?
Yeah.
And we had the software and stuff, Photoshop. I didn't know nothing about Illustrator. I just used to do everything in Photoshop. And I kind of just play around with it. I used to draw the same stuff. The same stuff I was drawing. Um, on paper, I used to just try to draw the same stuff on the computer,
Right.
like little characters and stuff, little game stuff. So I actually took some of the stuff that I draw to the printer and I asked him, I said, look, I have some skills in these programs. I don't mind learning how to design. And he was like, yeah, the guys say they're okay with it and stuff. So then I started learning Illustrator.
So that was a
Uh,
kind of on the job training kind of thing.
yeah, the first couple of months was them like teaching me the program, like, because it was for printer. So that aspect of Illustrator was way less creative, like less coming up with stuff from scratch and more like technical. And that's kind of where I started bridging my skill sets with like understanding like it's problem solving. So when you hear me talk about design now, as I always say, all this is problem solving.
Right.
It's
Visual
visual
problem
problem
solving.
solving.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You had to understand certain technical aspects of why you're designing and stuff. I get that from my day one training more or less.
Right. So how long? So like right out of school, you jump in the
Yeah,
country?
I had like a little gap here doing nothing, just kind of trying to figure out what to do. And then I remember telling my mother, I was like, Mom, I want to be a graphic designer. And she's like, oh, you're going to be a graphic designer? You don't have no schooling in that. I said, well, I'll figure it out. And about a year after, that's when I went and I started working in the printer and stuff. So the that job had last for like a 3 months, 4 months, and then my brother Fabian, who in the States, he was asking me if I wanted to come up and spend some time up there with him, and he was running a small design company at the time too. So while I
Really
was up
is
there, I started getting some experience with him over in New York, doing some little print campaigns and stuff with him.
right.
And but I was like a 6 months training too, and you wouldn't believe Photoshop, Illustrator, and he started showing me After Effects. So he had the programs on the computer there. I was like, "That's cool. I want to learn to animate stuff." And the more I started to play around with, it's Adobe. I kind of started feeling a little more comfortable in certain programs doing different things, and I guess overall I landed more in motion graphics because it was less common. Like we have real regular like still graphic designers here, print designers and stuff.
Right.
By the time they didn't really have much motion graphic designers. I'm talking about like let's see, I left school in 2004. So this would have been closer to like 2006, 7. Like MoGraph wasn't really a thing to me. I never hear about anybody talk about motion graphics and stuff.
So your drive was basically
My drive,
to make money, to have a career.
yeah, in the creative arts, I was like, I'm good at this thing. This I have a knack for it. Like I said, it's kind of like come naturally to me. I want to see where I could reach with this because
Right.
in school I wanted to be a vet. I like animals and things, so I wanted to be a vet, and then I was like, but I don't really know if I could operate on animals and go through all this extra schooling and stuff like that. And I was like, I have this skill already. How I could just capitalize on this?
Right.
And the only real job it had at the time was graphic design. And then I started trying to do some motion design stuff. I built a small portfolio working in an agency, a small agency, and I applied to TV6. They were looking for. I had a partner who I worked with before. So this Michael Richards. I don't know if you know Michael Richards. He was in Real and stuff too.
Yeah. He was
Yes.
Trinity boy. Yeah.
Right. So me and Michael had a link when he was doing a project called Tarsin. It was real long ago. He was doing like different animation, comic projects and stuff. And I think they had seen some of my illustration, and they wanted me on board and stuff. So I started linking with him, doing some work with him and stuff. And he liked what he was seeing. And then he was working in TV6 for the news for a while.
Right.
And they were looking for more motion designers. So he asked me if I could do motion design. And I was like, yeah, he said send him my portfolio, my resume and stuff. And I ended up getting through. I did about a year on a freelance contract in designing motion graphics for TV6 news and stuff.
Okay.
And I just keep moving from there. Right? So after that, I work in like a next production company, and the freelance came in eventually with COVID and stuff like that. And it's just always looking for like the next way that I could use my problem solving creative skill set to make a living. Yes.
Right. Okay. So you have experience with design, motion graphics, and then you was dabbling in the illustration right through?
Yeah, I was always illustrating. Like before I did any design stuff, I was illustrating.
Okay.
So some of my oldest illustrations is like it is stuff. I had like books and books are like drawings and nobody ever see because it's just like me sitting down drawing stuff, coming up with character designs, like playing games and then being like, I want a character like this, but he should have be this way instead, and just tweaking
Right.
stuff. Ninjas, real ninjas get drawn, boy.
That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. Okay. And currently, Way up to.
I'm working on real different projects at the same time. I'm putting together trying to do a little nature coloring book. So it's
Okay.
like a lot of real clean, crisp line art of plants and animals and stuff that you will see around the place in Trinidad because we live in the Caribbean.
Right.
That's one. The next one I'm working on is a book of my art. So for a while, I tried to like figure out to how exactly to shape what I want to do to the environment that we're in. And I don't know, the longer I hear, it's kind of get this feeling that like it limiting. So like what people want versus what you want to draw kind of thing
Yeah. Yeah.
is always a trade-off. And so the type of work you get to do is get like real limiting. So the kind of stuff I want to do is always be whimsical. I remember at a point in time a man asked me if I like Adventure Time because my drawings just look like Adventure Time. And boy, I could tell you truthfully, at the point in time, I had never even heard about Adventure Time.
Go look
I
at
just
that.
used to draw whimsical stuff. Like, to me, I come up with stuff in my head, right? And then I started watching cartoons like that, and I was like, "Wait, is these men getting to do some real creative stuff? Though, how I could do that, right?" So it ended up just being where right now I was like, you know what? People like art. People like my art. Gonna do my own drawings and stuff. Digital work, not very prevalent in the art spaces over here in terms of like people buying it and stuff. So I'm working on some stuff to publish maybe online and that kind of thing. But is my original art that I want to do just for the sake of like, if I think about something and it's cool, I gonna illustrate it instead of like trying to appeal to anybody else. So I have an art book in the works. I have like 3 illustrations so far for that one, but
I
I'm making some
mean,
progress.
according to you have a backlog of Ninja illustration there. You could pull out a few of them and refresh them.
Yeah, that's our next one I'm looking at too, because I have all these that's the next thing. My drawings before being digital, I used to do a lot of black and white work. So just lines, like no colors, nothing.
Right.
And I forget I do a course in UE. UE had a continuing studies, the School for Continuing Studies. They had an advanced comic book drawing course by this dude Christopher Hart.
Christopher Hart.
Yeah, I wonder if I get any name right, but hold on.
Nah. If it's the Midnight Rubber Man, it's not Christopher Hart.
What's his name? It's Christopher.
Jesus Christ, they put money spot there.
I'll look it up.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Alright, so there's 3/4 comics. And it says Riley, right? Chris Riley.
Riley, yes.
Yeah, so Chris Riley had a period of time he was doing a advanced comic book art inking course.
Yeah.
And basically I think it was like a 6 weeks intensive. So I ended up doing that.
Was it helpful? Hello? All right, so we seem to have lost him. Oh, he dropped. Hopefully he'll be back. Good reach. Right, no, yeah, so it asked if the Incan course was successful. If not successful,
Yeah,
if it was helpful.
I learned a lot from it. Because I didn't have too much. I would say I didn't have a lot of base foundation in art
Yeah,
because
because you tell art
I didn't really.
Alias in secondary school, so
Yeah. So a lot of it was self-taught and stuff I was reading, and then getting the practical application of experts at the time, being able to show me like figure ground balance and that kind of stuff, and then learning it without color, you're just using black and white and hatching techniques and stuff like that. It is very influential in the artwork I do now. You could see a lot of the techniques I learned in that course, like in every single one of my illustrations. It would have some kind of hatching somewhere or some dot work somewhere or something.
right. Okay.
And yeah, I mean, I learned to like color after a while, but I was real in it for the black and white for a good bit.
So it wasn't it was the course was strictly Incan, or there was more?
Yeah, it was just inking. It was advanced comic book inking. That's the certification I have in it.
Okay.
Comic artwork inking.
And that was when? Like what kind of time frame?
When I was that was, if I could put the certification, it's 20 something. I'll tell you. This one. This one. That would probably be like closer to 2010 or something.
Oh,
I was
okay.
looking for a while before I did that. When I find it,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have it there.
That's fine.
Yeah, but around that time, probably before 2010, 2012, maybe. Yeah, and that was because of I was just interested in learning. Like, it didn't really have a education for the point of like career. I didn't see the point of that. I was just like, I'm already in this thing. I want to get better at this. Let me see if I could do that through this. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was really into comics. So Lee, he's collecting comics and stuff all the time. Warren had gets into comics. My older brother Warren.
And so what kind of stuff you into now?
Me, some video games, but mostly anime. I'm real into the newer, I say any kind of animation. The last one I watched that real blew my mind was this one called Common Side Effects. And if you get a chance to check that out, the same studio that did Scavenger's Reign.
Scavenger's Reign is fucking amazing.
Yeah, dude.
Is amazing.
So that kind of stuff is real inspiring me still. I always only look out for new, not necessarily never been done stuff, but things that kind of make you think a lot.
Yeah.
And the animation itself looked different. I mean, yeah, stuff like Invincible and things too, that's just cool shit to look at.
Yeah, because Invincible kind of more look like an animated comic book. Is like, standard.
You see it already. Yeah.
Standard stuff, high quality and very fucking entertaining. But it is not. I don't want to say it is generic, but yes, it's stuff that you're accustomed seeing. Typical superhero proportions, be it normal like Invincible or expanded like Battle Beast, them kind of thing, but still stuff that you've seen before. but Scavenger's Reign and common side effects, yeah, there is a different style, very unique style.
Yeah, because part of it too is like it's not in the storytelling alone, and that's why like the storytelling match the animation style, right? Because
It's a
the
weird fucking
stories are
story.
out of the world, psychedelic kind of stuff, and you had to
Yeah.
have something to kind of match that feeling. So that's kind of the stuff I like. I really into stuff like that. Every once in a while, I've come across an anime that do something like that. You ever saw Japan Sinks? Same guys that did the Devilman Crybaby.
No. Never saw that.
You ever saw Devilman Crybaby?
No.
That one, dread. Like, real good story, sick animation style in terms of motion and stuff. Pretty good. And right now, I'm real into Dandadan. Dandadan is like it's in terms of like animation pioneering speed. I haven't seen an anime make things look faster than Dandadan, like in terms of the fights and how stuff is moved.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
stuff
think
like that. I really
I think
like
on
motion stuff.
episode 8 or 7 of the first season.
Season one.
Yeah, I'm behind schedule, but
Nah, that good. You have thing to binge, man.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, because when I watching stuff like that, then I was like rewatch and pause and had to actually break down frames and stuff sometimes. And so one of the things with my illustrations when I started doing like every reference I use in illustration now is never necessarily somebody in a still pose. I just try to reference people in motion.
Yeah, to get more dynamic.
Yeah,
Feel.
I like that dynamism and it again all the different disciplines kind of feed each other now. So because I started doing motion graphics and stuff, I was like I can make still graphics that kind of looking like it in a moving frame
Right.
kind of something.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So it asks on Facebook if anybody had any questions
Yeah.
that they would have liked me to ask artists when I'm talking to them.
Mhm.
So you see one coming from Jeffrey, a relative of mine, and his question is, what triggered this desire to produce art?
That's an interesting way to frame that question. What triggered the desire to produce art?
Right, and I guess so it's different because you have so many disciplines that fall under that creative umbrella, right? So initially it was career, making money to survive. So that's the
Right.
creative problem solving. So that's the design side, the motion graphics side. But I guess this one is more towards the illustration and doing shit for yourself, which sound like it started back in primary school where you was doing stick figure comic books, right?
Yeah, I think so. When people talk about art, it's like your this desire to express yourself, right? But then it's also the inverse of that, like the creating of art kind of shapes you as well. Like you kind of identify who you are with the kind of art you make and watch and stuff. So like other times I meet people and it's be like, oh, he's watch anime, and then the next question is what anime is watch, and they kind of judge you and try to figure out who you are based on what anime is watch.
Right.
So for me, I think like self-identity kind of came out of I am an artist. Like I am somebody who creates. I have that skill set and that power to like make worlds kind of thing. Not in a overlord kind of way, but like as a rebel since I remember, and I never liked the idea. You hear people say, "Well, that's how things are. You had to learn to deal with it, or you had to learn how it is, and then adjust yourself to that." I was always like, "Nah,
Right.
things don't really have to be like that. You can make a next way." And so a lot of these self-expression through art was me kind of exploring out what next ways it have now. I think like a lot of it too could be not necessarily escapism, but like I always trying to explore why we believe these things are set in stone. Like, okay, um, look at the prompts they give us here, where it's like dog magician, vampire pigeon, desert nomad. Like these things don't exist in our day to day. You're not gonna see a dog walking on the road in a row with a scepter. Like it's not gonna happen. But like I never see that to reference it anyway. But I could make that.
Yeah.
And I always remember this
However,
there's
like
a-
Kokesia will be a dog too.
yeah, right. Uh, with some kind of chicken or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
left hand dumpling, some black candle.
Yeah. So this guy Ken Robinson, he was a educator in the UK, and he tried to reform how education was taught and stuff like that. And he had this story. He's tell this little girl was in a school, and it was like drawing time, and everybody's drawing and stuff. Whatever. And the teacher asked her, "It's like little Susie will call her." The teacher said, "What are you drawing?" And she said, "I drew a picture of God." And the teacher was like, "Well, that's silly. Nobody know what God looks like." And she's like, "Yeah, they will in a moment."
Yeah.
Because
Because
that, you know, like
because that drawing God, you go see?
exactly, right? And so his thing was like kids have this way of not necessarily believing like what you tell them kind of thing. And I think I through drawing as kind of try to still keep that um understanding that we don't know everything. Kinda like you don't know everything in the world, and it has stuff out there that like could still be being defined. So when I think about stuff like what kind of jobs they have in the creative field now, people is like, oh, they can't really make money as an artist. It kind of have ways to kind of, for me, I just be seeing people doing the wildest stuff with art, like on Instagram or you look at social media and stuff. There's a guy who's really inspirational to me, a Malaysian artist called Chimeng Bui. He's not very famous, but I can't remember how I came across this dude. That probably was Instagram or something back in the day. Dude was a lead, I think he was the head animator for Diablo 3, one of these big video games, right? Diablo 3 was like a huge success. And he quit. He said, as a head animator, you have so much rigidity you have to follow that you end up really losing the plot of like why you became a creative in the first place now.
Right.
And so he started doing these little comics, like literally little stick comics. I'm talking about like black and white chibi versions of himself, however. And he just called it when I was a kid. And basically it's these little short stories of how life was when he's growing up in Malaysia and stuff. And what was really relatable about that for me, and when I watched it, I was like, but there's a lot of this song in like Trinidad, like coming from a certain background where you misbehave and you like a slipper in the back of your head kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I remember I messaged him to reach out to see. I was like, this dude is I don't know, he's a lead animator. I don't know if he want to take me on our phone. Dude was humble. We started talking and stuff, and it's just like seeing people like that finding a new path where for him he probably get into animation because he was good at it and it was making a lot of money. But after a while, you kind of lose the plot of why you started creating in the first place.
Yeah.
Like the storytelling and that kind of stuff now. So it's always like kind of redefining reality and figuring out these new pathways of like, okay, maybe I could, if I do a book about my childhood, somebody would want to buy it. And the dude sell like, he have like, I think like part 10 or something on those books. And he just tell his own story. So stuff like that, like creating for me was always like, I kind of fuck you now. Like, it's this colonized imperial, you had a working capitalism kind of thing.
You're right.
I trying to find a next way, and I don't know if younger me had known that, but I think that has always been it. Like, let me try to create my own world then, in a non-disillusioned kind of way. Like I could figure out a way because I'm skillful enough to make this thing something actually plausible.
Right. I mean, there's always stories that we can tell.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be extremely personal or just dealing with the things that are around you, culturally, socially, that kind of thing. And it has been proven time and time again in places like Japan that basically invented manga. It literally a manga for everybody, for all ages.
Yes.
And when you translate that to anime, it has all kind of anime.
Yep.
From slice of life to sports, martial arts, folklore.
You know, it was one of the dreadest anime. I remember somebody showing me remember Dale from class?
Yeah.
Dale from Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Tai Chi.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Dale put me onto this anime called Bento. And I don't know if you ever hear about Bento. Bento is basically, it have a supermarket in a certain town where at a certain hour, all the lunches is go on discount. And I kid you not, is have Street Fighter level fights for them lunches though. In the supermarkets.
Partner, I have seen that in real life when them food court and them having half off after 6 and 7. Yeah, I see that. So and look, right? So it have an anime with that shit. But we can relate here because it had that same kind of thing here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
You could have an international audience, and it's something that I tell my students, right? Once your work is to an international standard, you could pull an international audience, but you had to compete with everybody else. So you had to be producing at a high level, one, and tell your own stories. Don't try to out manga a mangaka. Don't try to do Japanese folklore stuff that you didn't grow up with
and you don't know about
intimately. You go fail.
You know, it was a real cool animation I saw. I can't remember the name of it, but it was on Netflix. It was Filipino folklore, and the characters and stuff. It reminded me of like what we have here with like Mama Glow and Papa Bua and them kind of stuff. I will look up the name for it. It was real interesting, but like I just say that now, like culturally.
I think I saw a trailer with this, but this would have been some years ago, right?
Yeah, this was old.
Yeah.
See, Filipino folklore animation, and it was good. Like it really caught my attention, and it's something that like. For me, like what drew me to it was that it was not something that I was familiar with, but it still was relatable because we have folklore.
Yeah. And a lot of the
Tresty. It was called Tresty.
Yes. I remember. I didn't watch it, but I remember seeing the trailer for it, and it looked interesting. What I did watch, granted it was live action and not anime, was I think it's Invisible City is the name of it. Brazilian folklore.
I don't think I saw that, but that sounds cool.
And plenty of the characters in that have direct relations to
Caribbean
Trinidad
folklore.
and Tobago folklore. So there's some of them like merged. So there was a character who was, strangely enough, they merge Duen with Papa Boa with Sukunia. So he foot backwards, he does catch on fire, but he does be in the bush protecting wildlife and them kind of thing. And then there was one that I heard of before. The freshwater dolphins, the Amazon dolphins, is be like pink.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a folklore where the male dolphin does turn into a human, come on land to mate with human women, kind of thing, and that was happening and them kind of thing. So it have, yeah, like I tell people, it have, you could tell your own stories and be creative with that, and because it coming from a place that is ingrained in you, you're born into it. It will be, I think, more special and more substantial than just trying to copy something from somewhere else that you is not necessarily a watered down version, but is definitely through the lens of somebody else.
As an outsider perspective.
But then my outsider perspective is like, it come like if you're trying to learn figure drawing, you're trying to draw the human body, but instead of going to a live drawing class where you're actually drawing somebody that's modeling, you looking at a comic artist drawing of somebody and then you copying that. So you drawing somebody's interpretation of the human body and not going,
I get you.
not being in the source now. So even if you being influenced by a manga artist or an anime, that's still somebody else's interpretation of a thing.
You didn't come up with your own. And again, it kind of circle back to us saying where like when we creating these things, you kind of learning your own, who are you now? Like you're kind of creating your identity.
Exactly. Yes.
If it's so influenced by external source, you're not really finding who you are. You're not finding your own voice, your artistic voice in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, I think we may have answered a few other questions there, but let me see. Right, so Misty has an interesting question. What support systems do you wish were in place as upcoming artists, and in place as you as an upcoming artist? What support systems do you wish were in place, and what support systems do you think should be there now for established artists like yourself?
For established or upcoming? It's a two-part question.
Two-part question. So you coming up, what support systems did you wish were in place for yourself coming up? And part two, you've been doing anything for a while. What systems do you wish you had now as a practicing artist?
Alright, so as I always talk about, you see how I don't think we as a country or nation have a full appreciation for art in all forms. We might talk about carnival and things, but I'll give an example. Some time ago, there was a collaboration between the German embassy and Trinidad. This project called the German embassy and the Southern Latin America and Caribbeans. It was called De Mi Barrio a Tu Barrio, right? And it means like from my city to yours, or from my village or wall or whatever you want to call it, but from mine to yours.
Right.
And what they did, they did a series of murals across the Caribbean with Caribbean artists, and they got printouts of some different artworks and stuck it on the mural. So it's like basically like the mural here in Trinidad would have been about 8 different Trinidadian artists on the western wall or eastern wall of Queen's Park, Savannah, and they would have the print out artwork from other Latin American countries like stuck up alongside the paintings and that kind of thing, right?
Okay.
That project was recorded and put into a book. They had to photograph everything, so I was part of it by through a connection I had. One of the guys who was supposed to be on it is a Trinidadian artist named Richard. What's his last name again? I forget my last name is. But next Richard. And he wouldn't have been able to be in the country at the time. So I reached out, and I was working for the art agency at the time. And I ended up getting on the project kind of like through grapevine.
Okay.
Now, that project done and gone, and they paint over the wall. Because Savannah Carnival, right?
Right.
I don't think a lot of Trinidadians even know that it had a kind of collaborative project like that.
Yeah, because they're not ringing no bells to me.
Yeah, it done gone. It come and gone. So my thing about why I brought that up in the first place, in terms of we talk about culture and art and stuff, but they really mean carnival.
Right.
When you're looking at art, I think for up and coming artists and kids and stuff who interested in it, I would wish that they would have more examples of what is possible in the artistic fields. Like I wish they would talk about like what you could do as an artist. So like another thing is we have a culture of like, you know, engineers, right, and science and stuff like that. But a lot of the ideas that scientists and engineers are inspired by to make new things like inventions and stuff is coming from artists. The
Right.
people who imagine what is possible. So in terms of systems, I think like a greater pride and a kind of I don't know how to phrase it. It's like more, not career days and stuff like that, but just having more art spaces, like public art spaces, public talks, people encouraging art to be a valid career path, like a valid thing that somebody would want to do. So I remember in school, they used to tell you, you know, art is what the delinquents choose to do. That's it. I know it. If you want to be an artist, is because you're not good at any other subject, right?
Yeah, because you're stupid or you're giving trouble. So
Yeah.
send them an art.
And so I think that on a fundamental level, we need to try to figure out how to change that, because it has a lot of value in art and like the way that we learn to think, the way that we appreciate culture, the way that we tell stories, even the way that we educate, like in terms of creative ways to teach, creative ways to pass on information and that kind of stuff, because not everybody could learn from beating a book, you know?
Right.
And so that's one of the main things. I think like we had to restructure the way, I wish they would restructure the way that we look at art and culture. And I say they, and I call them like saying it's the government or whatever. As a society too, we have a lack of appreciation for artists.
I think it's
Caribbean
not,
society.
It's not just a lack of appreciation. There's a lack of respect.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Because
I sure that was segue into our next question we coming up to this stuff.
probably. Because no other field routinely having like
Problems getting
competition.
paid.
Yeah, the spec work. Do this for free, and if I like it, I go pay you. But you don't go to a restaurant and say, well, cook this for me, and if I like it, I go pay you.
Exactly.
No other field, right?
And you
And
buy
always
four
be daunting.
cakes. You buy 4 cakes in your grocery and you eat out of all them, and you say, well, this is the one I like, so I'm gonna pay for this, and they could take all the rest of them.
Keep the rest of them. I don't know what you're gonna do with it, but
Yeah, so they had some real cool. There was a company called something Alpha, Kilo Alpha, or something like that. They did a real good video called No Spec Work on that same thing you're talking about. It's kind of advocating against spec work and thing.
Right.
Zulu Kilo Alpha. Send it after. Real good.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, is a disrespect to art as a skill, right? And this is something I like to talk about a lot too. Like, people look at art as this kind of abstracty, airy-fairy, will look nice kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was appealing based on I guess based on preference. So it would be like, yeah, well, this look nice, or make it pop on them kind of things. So you have that kind of art, and then you have art as a skill, which is like the same way you were going to learn to be a doctor, or the same way you were going to learn to be a lawyer. You have these set of rules and a science behind how these things work. And
Exactly. And that's the thing is, I would argue that in order to be, especially in design, right? Any of those, same thing going back to the beginning, anything that requires creative problem solving, whether it is static visuals or motion graphics or whatever it is, you have to be intelligent in order to produce effective solutions, because you got to understand your client, you had to understand their target market, and understand how they just think and what is appealing, and put all of that together.
Yep.
And you had to be able to consult.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you saw this the video I did with the Watch It rebranding?
Yeah. I was gonna and ask about that.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask.
So the
about
same thing you're saying, yeah, in terms of like what, like, you had to have a certain kind of brain to be a creative. It can't just be like, well, I know these programs and I'm gonna hit some buttons and get you something to watch.
Exactly.
It works so.
But the thing is, because the barrier to entry is becoming lower and lower, especially now, which will lead into the most popular question by far, AI, right?
Yep.
Even using AI. So my stance, well, actually, let me hear your stance on it first.
My stance on AI.
What are your thoughts on AI?
It's not the hottest take, but I find AI highly controversial in the aspect of the deception aspect, where all these AI models is trained on artists' work that they never consented for people to use, right?
Right.
So I am always against AI from that point of view as an artist. I was like, I could never really condone using it because it's theft by nature in that aspect. On the flip side, I see how useful it is in terms of conceptualizing. So again, as an artist, I just reference other artists' work. So I would look at Miyazaki work. I would look at this guy Kim Jong-gi's work, and sometimes I might take a screenshot, pull it into Photoshop, and draw stuff over it, and then tweak. Right. That's all in the name of inspiration. Yeah. At no point would I ever take a Miyazaki picture and say, yeah, I draw this. You understand?
Right. So
there's this line with AI where people are doing that because they could input prompts and they say, oh, let me get I want to get a photo of me in Miyazaki style, and the AI will just pump that out, right? And they'll be like, yeah, I draw this. Look how you pick this. Look at what I make. When they didn't make it, Miyazaki made it.
Yeah.
You understand? So as a tool, though, if you do that, and then you say, okay, I'm going to use this picture as a reference to draw something.
Right.
I could condone that because you're still inspired.
The final effort is still yours.
Yes. And that's kind of my take on AI. Like I don't like it because the nature of it was deceptive. It came about from just this mass grab of information without people's consent, and it's still doing it. Like, I mean, even Adobe and stuff, they have their AI built into certain things. I don't know how legal their things work with like getting.
them kind of scummy though.
Yeah, because in the fine printer, all their stuff when you're using these apps, they tell you if you upload stuff, it's gonna be scanned and scraped for data and using AI.
Yeah,
But
and
nobody
you
reading them
can't-
things.
If you
can't opt out
if you opt out, you can't
Don't
use
use
the
the
program.
program. That's it. The
That
opting
real
out as well.
scummy.
Don't use us.
That
Yeah.
real scummy.
So it's a lot of that kind of that's the rhetoric. I see people saying, you know, AI is real useful, it's very handy, it's gonna make things so much faster. And I'm like, yeah, cool. But how much faster you want things? And then you reach to the point where what we were talking about just now, like we have this lack of respect for the people who want to learn to do it, right? So
Yeah.
you think about AI for image creation, cool. But then you have people using AI to draft lawyer letters and things. Is it just as is our lawyers now just as like the disposable because they could just get AI bot to write a lawyer letter? So it's a lot of them kind of thought processes. Like I saw there was something I was reading and somebody said like there are people who are using chatbots to start doing what is those summarizing doctors' diagnoses for like using medication and stuff. So they get diagnosed for like cancer and they have all these ways the doctors will write a long notes explaining things they need to do and stuff like that. So some people feed it into this AI and ask it to summarize it because they don't want to read all the jargon and things. And the AI get them back a summary where it just guess the type of cancer they had and telling them the wrong doses and stuff,
Yep.
and they just taking it wholesale.
Yep.
So when you look at that, it's like you have and this is something I talk about a lot when it comes to mimicry and emulation. So those words sound really similar. When you mimic something, you're doing something that look like something. When you emulate something, you're doing something that feel like the thing and it close to it.
Right.
And I think what AI does really well with art is it mimics it. Because there's always something that feels off about it. Like a lot of people describe it as there's a soullessness to AI artwork.
Yeah.
And I feel that that's kind of like it's really close to mimicking it. It's getting close to like what people want to see in art, but it doesn't understand the principles that we learn. So with the same doctor's thing, the AI could guess based on the text what it is you want it to do, but then it not necessarily it don't know medicine, so it can't actually do what you want it to do. It could get something close to it, but it's not gonna be the right thing.
Yeah. Not that there's much crossover between the two, but medicine and art, in both cases, a lot of times there isn't one standard solution.
Yeah.
So,
it's all about applying a wide range of knowledge to figure something out based on the
information you have
and the outcome you're trying to get.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a back and forth. So based on this information, this is some solutions that could work. But we had to try it and see and then tweak to make sure that it's the most effective end result that you're looking for. But with AI, and because people trained to believe whatever they see online, they just type in something and whatever they get, right. And they don't have the technical knowledge. So even like with Canva, which again, so just like AI, Canva is a tool, and on its own, nothing wrong with it, right? And Canva is ridiculously popular. But plenty people, they don't even know the basics of design. So they will just use a template as is.
Right.
And because the template available for free, they use it and they feel, well, yeah, I get through there. I get through in life. But
They don't have the knowledge, the knowledge, the science aspect of art to know what problem they're even trying to solve with that template.
and
So it's come back to that understanding of like, to me it is like you go to the grocery or something, you go somewhere to get like a specific thing solved. So you go to a hardware and you say I need to dig a hole, and you say, well, the hardware man could be like, well, they could dig a hole with plenty of different things in it, but this is what we have, and he hand you a fork.
right.
You understand? It's not to say that they can't dig a hole with a fork. It can do it. It's not really solving the problem you have. So the AI thing, it's not all bad, you know. I'm not opposed to people using it. I think there's uses for it, but then it have the other aspects that like I probably would never use it in terms of the environmental impacts and like my own ethics about certain stuff.
Right.
I can't really see it being I can't really see it being something I really adapt into my
Into your
workflow at any point. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. So I guess that answers the question if you've ever used it before.
In the earlies, I try to figure out some of it. Like my brother's telling me I should try Mid Journey and stuff like that.
Right.
There's these guys, Corridor Digital on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
They used
the animated movie short
they use was Stable Diffusion.
Yeah.
And real different programming skills. But these guys, they are VFX artists. They know how to use the AI and then tweak it. And so they did a live action anime based on inputting their own footage where they acted it out, and then they used Stable Diffusion to treat the frames of the video to look like anime, and it was shot on green screen, and they had compositing and stuff like that. So it's not to say like they plug it into VO 2.0 or whatever until it generates video. They still do real work, and it was mostly them doing creative stuff.
Yeah.
I think some stuff like that is what kind of had me interested in it at first.
Okay.
I was like, oh, it's real cool. Let me check out what this is. But I didn't really get too far into it. I was like, oh, it's actually real super technical to do stuff like that on Stable Diffusion. And so I just kind of like played with it for a while, and I was like, all right, nah, I don't want to do any more of this. Yeah.
Fair. That's fair. Right. Back to the question. Let me see if I find. Right. Shannon wants to know how you're paying bills.
Mm-hmm. Barely. Nah, I mean, so I freelance. Right now, what I do is actually teach. So I consult with designers and people who want to learn design. But it's a lot of multitasking. So I do freelance work for motion graphics, freelance work for graphic design. You mentioned the carpentry as build stuff for people. And I mean, if I could, I'm looking for work. I look into work for a company as a designer, but I also I don't know. I try to stay away from the super corporate part of design. It's not necessarily what I want to do. It's not the most creative.
Right.
So how I pay bills by kind of just doing all the different parts of what I could do in a freelance capacity, and hopefully with more passive income than anything. The passive income would come from like the books and stuff that I look into to hit out.
Right. And how is that doing?
It's slow. It's a lot of work, but it's kind of fulfilling too. So one of the last illustration I did, I when I get into the creative flow of certain things, I started illustration last night and finished like 4 o'clock this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I check the time and I was like, that's what I doing, boy. So sometimes you get into a state of flow and like it's going good because some of the stuff I make, like I actually surprising myself with the style of style of illustration that I'm coming up with and stuff too.
So this is a new. This would be a new.
Yeah, I post something last night. I posted this morning. Let me see how way I could pull it in here, man.
But you could send it to me and I'll superimpose.
Yeah. I'm gonna send it to this one. As the next thing I gotta organize my files. I have like 10 different projects and they're in different folders, and sometimes I'll be like, where I put this one, man? Just really working on the illustration book, like what I kind of wanted to do. That is giving me some fulfillment. I would like, and I've been trying to get into illustrating book covers for people who like authors doing that kind of cover illustration and stuff.
What kind of books you talking about here?
I don't know, novels like mystic fantasy, any kind of story-driven stuff. Now, like, I mean, I could probably do non-fiction and fiction too, but my style would kind of fit more with novels.
Right. Okay.
So,
Okay.
Other than that,
Hopefully
yeah.
we develop this project develop an audience enough that
yeah, somebody will contact me, man.
yeah.
So I after I did that, the orchard video I'd asked you about earlier, if you had seen.
Yeah,
I could talk about that a bit.
of course.
Alright, so I recently did a critique of the Orchard rebrand. Now, the video just kind of talk about it, but people keep sending it to me saying they see my name on the box.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, it looked like Richard, right? Because they kind of lost the O.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, I sit on it for a while. I was like, you know what, I should do something about this. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit and stuff. So I did a breakdown critique on like how I would design something for Orchard if I had the chance to redesign it, or if I had the chance to tell them what they should do or whatever.
Right.
And I did that video on Friday, posted it up. Nothing like, I didn't do any motion graphics or anything. Very simple, just me talking to the camera and some overlapping images and stuff like that. And people have been contacting me, like people I never hear about before. So I think like that kind of thing, people kind of interested in, like seeing how design works in a practical way.
Yeah.
Because I've had people who, one of the comments I got was that when they saw the Orchard rebrand, they wasn't sure what about it didn't sit well with them, but it felt like something was wrong.
Right.
And then they said that they looked at my video and they could have started understanding a little better the aspects of the design and why it felt like that.
Right.
So like that type of design education, I wasn't doing it necessarily for anybody in particular, but I think it helped the public kind of get an idea on like what designers supposed to be doing.
Yeah, definitely. And that's again going back to what we would have discussed earlier, where you can't be stupid and be an effective designer, because you had to be able to explain you know, if you're a responsible designer, you would explain the things that you're doing and why you do certain things to your clients or to the public, so that,
Right.
you know, they have that understanding. Granted, there's also the argument that a good design supposed to be able to stand up on its own, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
is fair, and I agree with. But on the other side, so like, let's say the person contact you, something about that rebrand that Orchard did wasn't sitting well with them, but they couldn't put it into words, and
Yeah.
you kind of broke it down so that they understood what the issue was. You can't do that if you're stupid. You can't do that if you haven't had the training to be able to recognize the issue, and then on top of that express it in a way that people can understand. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's all well and good if you're utilizing the University of YouTube, which I am a strong advocate for, but you don't always get the full education by just looking at YouTube videos on how to do something.
Yeah.
You know, and definitely
There's a practical aspect that's missing.
AI making it worse when you're solely relying on AI, and as you said, then just presenting that as your own work. That's being very dishonest and making it bad for everybody.
Yeah. So
You
then,
know?
I mean, so that was mentioned too, to talk about, you know, what I'm doing to make money. Part of it is training designers, and offering one-on-one sessions. Because one of the people that reached out to me was like, well, I could buy a course, and I was like, I don't have a course, and I teaching design that way. Yeah.
All right.
And I teaching design that way because, again, you could do a course and then you don't really understand anything. You could go and watch a million videos online and you don't really know how to apply it, right?
Yeah. So
my teaching method is really sitting with the person, asking them, you know, what you're trying to design for, where you understand so far, what skill level you're at, and we go from there. And I can teach you like specifics of what you need to know to like get better at your craft. It could be motion graphics, it could be regular design, still design. If you didn't print, if you didn't social media, like I will customize to you now.
Yeah.
So that's one of the avenues I tackling too.
I like how that sounded.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've been talking for a while. So I guess we could wrap up here, and hopefully this would be a good first go into this thing, which will hopefully be a interesting series. So where can people find you if they have more questions about the Orchard box or anything?
Now, anything, man. You can contact me for design related stuff, or if you want to check out my illustrations and stuff. I am on Instagram. I started a TikTok recently too, because I'm doing more of that type of educational content. But my Instagram is illus.taylor. I write it here. It's like a pun on illustrator. So illus.
Right, I get it.
Taylor with.
I'll definitely put it in the description of this video.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep pushing as much as I could. When I see stupid branding happening in the world, I would talk about it.
There's always going to be stupid branding. Might possibly be even more now, unfortunately.
Yep.
Which is a
is
negative, but could be a positive in that you gain more content and more things to talk about to potentially.
Yeah, I think that too is a kind of fun journey for me too, because again, it's like a problem to solve, and as I always say that, like, yeah, find some problems, go out and find problems.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean with the it's some Nollywood film when the guy was like, I don't want peace, I want problems.
Peace.
Always.
I want problems always. I love it. I love it.
That's literally my brain, dude. My brain is always problem solving.
You don't want
It's
peace?
searching for them problems. Nah, I don't want peace, dog.
Partner, I want peace. I want peace.
From a design perspective, it want to fix design problems.
Well,
That's-
fair.
yeah.
Fair. All right. Richard, thank you. This was, I don't know what I would expect coming in. But this was more than I hoped for. So I appreciate
Yeah, this was real fun, dude.
I appreciate your time. And I have some more ideas about this this kind of format moving forward.
Yeah. And just for the viewers, my Wacom pressure sensitivity wasn't working now. I'll try and get that fixed if I want here again, so we can get some better stuff going on.
Not if, brother. When we are
Yeah.
there again. All right. Thank you.